mentioned, I often get the question, what is IoT? So today, I know there's a lot of people in here that are super technologists, but this will be IoT 101 for the non-technologists. Because my guess is a lot of people ask that same question, probably some of you in here. So we'll go through this a little bit today. IoT is an acronym, as most things are in the technology world, standing for the Internet of Things. Now, I think we're all familiar with the Internet. Al Gore invented that back in the 90s, right? But I think we all have access to the Internet now in our homes, correct? And with that, probably looks a little bit like this, where you've got a desktop computer, maybe a wireless laptop, even your phone connected to a wireless router, up to a cable modem, where it says ISP, Internet Service Provider, out to the Internet. So a lot of people have this set up in their house already. If you do, congratulations. You are an IoTer. Because what IoT is, these things were the first Internet of Things connected to the network. Now, suppose in your home now, you can connect all these other things, coffee maker, hot water heater, dishwasher, etc., etc. Technology is such that you can do that. And really, IoT is the converging of multiple technologies. One of the main components is these small little teeny tiny devices that Gary talked about last week that he creates that you can now put into a product and it will talk. It has communications capabilities. It will talk to a network. So think about in your hot water heater or your dishwasher, you've got a communications device that talks to that wireless router just as your computer does. And now it's connected. But also software tools to be able to program these little teeny tiny devices that Gary designs. And probably a mobile app that you can now control one of those devices from an app on your phone. And cloud computing is a component of this. Cloud computing is really kind of a fancy word for a computer that's off in some other location that you don't necessarily know. It's usually owned by somebody else that you're renting. But some of these IoT devices can swap out a lot of information and therefore are connected through a cloud computing server. You need the analytics to turn all that data into meaningful information that a company can use. So why would I want to have an IoT water softener in my house? Well, a few different reasons. I remember putting water softener in my house several years ago. And it's a pretty simple device, but you have to have some maintenance. For the most part, it's just putting salt in, right? But guess what I would forget to do? Put salt in. It doesn't help the water softener when you don't have salt in it for a while. In fact, it can cause some damage. So wouldn't it be nice if that water softener sent me a text or an email and said, Bill, time to put some salt in, okay? All right, so what would I normally do? I'd go down to Safeway or Home Depot, buy one of those big 40-pound bags of salt and lug it home and lug it over and put it in the water softener. Well, what if that water softener says, you know, Bill, it's time to put some salt in, but you know what? I'm monitoring that salt level. And if you click this node right here, I will send you a 10-pound bag of salt that you can put in, and I will notify you of this each time. Set this up, I'll have that salt delivered to your door, no lugging all this. Yeah, that works for me. If you're the manufacturer, what does this mean for you? Well, most manufacturers make something, they test it, they really don't know how it's going to work until it gets out into the real world and they start seeing what happens out there. And then they have to make after-the-fact type adjustments. Well, yes, if you're the manufacturer, now you're collecting a lot of this information from these water softeners out there. You now have real-time information that you can deal with. And you can make new designs and better designs. But one of the things, you also know who your customer is. A lot of manufacturers make devices, they sell it through a tiered distribution system. They don't know who that customer is. Now you do. And it's new revenue streams. In this example of the water softener company made water softeners. They didn't capture that salt revenue. Now they have an opportunity to capture that salt revenue. This is a real example. That's a new revenue stream, and it's becoming a significant revenue stream. But it also sets you up for X. You'll see this AAS. And it's really taking a product and making it as a service. In our example here, instead of paying the money for a water softener, you can have water softening as a service. The water softener company comes in and installs that, and for a monthly fee, you pay for that, or you pay for just the amount that you use. And for the manufacturer, that's a monthly income stream. They're not subject to the booms and busts of maybe the housing market or the real estate. And oftentimes, if you price this well enough, it's higher margins. And there's all kinds of different examples here of services. One that I like is elevator as a service. Think about that. Elevator companies now providing elevator as a service to their customers as opposed to having them buy the elevators and maintaining them. So just some statistics. The second one there, you see how the growth of the industry is going to be here in the next few years as this is really catching on. So what's the future? I think the future for all of us here is going to look good. As I mentioned, going to be the engineers to make the little teeny tiny devices like Gary that are going to go in these new products. They'll need the IT professionals like Jason who knows how to configure these, make it all work, and maintain it. A couple ones on here. Data security. If you imagine all this data coming back and forth, you're going to have security experts and accountants to figure out how to price this as a service. So hopefully this gives you a little bit better idea of what IoT is, what the future holds. Class dismissed.